Welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle, and this is another recommendations video for Cloak and Dagger Christmas 2022. If you do not know what Cloak and Dagger Christmas is, or have not yet seen the announcement video, I'll link to it here in the cards and in the description box below. Check out that announcement video to get all the details about this fantastic month-long mystery readathon. For today's recommendations, I want to give you recommendations for the Three French Hens prompt. This is to read a translated work or a mystery that is set in a country different from your own. So obviously the recommendations that I'm giving here are for countries that are not Canada. So this may work for you or it may not, but I hope that you can find something in these recommendations that piques your interest. First up, we have the Jade series by Susanne Arruda. This is a historical mystery series set in the early 1920s Africa. Mark of the Lion, Stalking Ivory, Serpent's Daughter, Leopard's Prey, The Treasure of the Golden Cheetah, The Crocodile's Last Embrace, and Devil Dance. I love this series. Jade is a fantastic character. She is from New Mexico, and she served driving ambulances on the front line during World War II in France. And then in the first book, she gets asked to go to Africa to find someone that she knew in the war, to find his brother, and then she ends up staying there, and the rest of the series is set in Africa, and it is really fun. I would classify them as adventure mysteries. Next up is the Crown Colony series by Ovidia Yu. This is a series set in Singapore in the 1930s. Our main character is Su Lin, and she is Chinese. And one thing that I love about this series is the setting is because it's Singapore. It is still during the time period when it is still being the British are still there overseeing the country, and you get, and this is probably true still nowadays, but you get a lot of people from a lot of different countries in Singapore, and I really like that. So yeah, this is a great historical mystery series. Su Lin is young. I think she's just in her late teens, and gets herself involved in mysteries. And yeah, it's a good series. The Honjin Murders by Seishi Yokomizo. This is a mystery translated from the Japanese. It was originally published in 1946. It is set in 1937, and it is an impossible crime mystery, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was really great. The Maharaja series by Arjun Raj Giand. This is a historical mystery series set in India in the Edwardian time period, so 1910, 1911, 1912. There are 3 books that I know of in the series: A Very Puka Murder, Death at the Durbar, which would also count for Partridge in a Pear Tree, the prompt, you can double up, and The Missing Mem Sahib. This entire series could also fit with the 10 Lords a Leaping prompt, because the main character in this series is a Maharaja. And so yeah, again, this is one where you can double up. I liked this series because it has a very traditional mystery feel to it. I want to say Golden Age, but it's a little bit before the Golden Age, but it's that traditional mystery feel. They're often locked room or impossible crimes, and the Maharaja is actually, he's a really interesting character. Okay, The Human Flies by Hans Olav Lahlum. This is translated from Norwegian. This is set in Oslo, Norway in 1968. It's the first in a series featuring K2 and Patricia. It plays homage to Agatha Christie, and you get some great Norwegian history in this book. And it is full of deceit and betrayal and revenge and murder. And it was it was really fun. I would definitely read more from that series. Okay, the Wyndham and Banerjee series by Abir Mukherjee. This is a historical mystery series set in Calcutta in 1919. Captain Sam Wyndham, after the First World War, gets sent to India. Of course, Britain is still ruling in India at this time, and he partners up with Sergeant Banerjee. A rising man, a necessary evil, smoke and ashes, death in the east, and the shadows of men. Again, really good series dealing with some really interesting historical aspects. And I really like the character of Captain Sam. He is complicated, and yeah, it's a good series. Okay, Murder on the Murder on the Leviathan by Boris Akunin. This is translated from Russian. It's the third in the Arist Fandorin series, but I think this is a series that it's totally fine to read out of order. You could read just this one if you want. This one is set in 1878 on a cruise ship, and so that is really fun. Fandorin is a passenger on the cruise ship, and a murder happens before the cruise, but of course things happen on the ship as well. And when a detective wrongly solves a crime, Fandorin gets involved to correctly solve the crime. That one was a good one as well. The Hangman's Daughter series by Oliver Potzsch. I'm not sure how to say that last name. This is translated from the German. This is a historical mystery series set in Germany in 1649. This series is fantastic and I love it, but just fair warning, it's a little bit dark and violent because the main characters are part of the Hangman's family. His job is to execute prisoners, and at that time in Germany, his job was also to torture prisoners to get confessions. So we get a little bit of that, not a huge amount, but just fair warning that's in there. I really enjoy this series. It's a very interesting time period, one that I didn't know a lot about, and so that's one of the reasons why I really enjoyed reading this series. The Hangman's Daughter is the first one. The Athreya series by RV Raman. This was actually the first one in this series, A Will to Kill, was named among the best traditional mysteries of 2020 by Crime Reads, and it was also named one of the best crime fiction books of 2020 by Open the Magazine, and I really enjoyed it. This is a modern day mystery set in India, but it feels like a golden age mystery. It totally has that. It's a traditional mystery in that sense. They're often closed in or isolated or impossible crimes, and yeah, really good. Harith Athreya is the main character. He is a seasoned investigator. A Will to Kill is the first one. A Dire Isle is the second one, and A Praying Mantis is the third in the series. I just finished A Dire Isle and really enjoyed it, and I've got A Praying Mantis on hold at the library. So if it comes in time, I will be reading it for Cloak and Dagger Christmas. Okay, the Death in Paradise series by Robert Thorogood. This is based on the TV show. Robert Thorogood created the TV show. Then he wrote 4 mysteries with D.I. Richard Poole as his investigator. D.I. Richard Poole is the first inspector in the series. It is a long-running series, and I think it's on its 4th inspector by now. These stories are with the original team, but they are also original stories. So if you like the show, you will enjoy the books. A Meditation on Murder, which would also count for The Partridge in a Pear Tree Prompt, The Killing of Polly Carter, Death Knocks Twice, and Murder in the Caribbean. These ones are often locked room or impossible crimes, and they are fantastic. The Chief Inspector Andreas Kaldis series by Jeffrey Siger. I read these years ago, and I enjoyed them. This is a series it's a police procedural series set in Greece, which is what caught my attention in the first place. I was intrigued to read something that was set in Greece. 10 of the 12, including the first in the series, Murder in Mykonos, would also fit for the Partridge in a Pear Tree prompt, so you can double up if you want. So these are police procedural, modern day Greece. So there is investigations, but also corruption, etc. You know, corruption in the police force, etc. So if that's your deal, then you might really enjoy that series. The Decagon House Murders by Yukito Ayatsuji. This has been translated from the Japanese. This is a Japanese cult classic that was originally published in 1987. It is an homage to Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the connections to Golden Age crime, Golden Age mysteries in the book. And I can see why this is a cult classic in Japan. It's a good mystery. And it definitely has that traditional Golden Age feel to it. The Inspector Singh series by Shamini Flint. This is a series that is set in and around Singapore. Singapore is where Inspector Singh is stationed, but in each book he actually gets sent to a different country to investigate, which is one of the reasons why I love this series so much. I also just love the character of Inspector Singh. He is fantastic. He's a really good investigator. And this is just a great series. So the first book is A Most Peculiar Malaysian Murder, which I think could also count for the Partridge in a Pear Tree prompt if you want to double up. A Bali Conspiracy Most Foul, so we move to Bali in this second one. The Singapore School of Villainy, so he's at home in Singapore for that one. A Deadly Cambodian Crime Spree, we go to Cambodia. A Curious Indian Cadaver, in that one we go to India. He's with his wife for a family wedding, and that one was a good one too. A Calamitous Chinese Killing, we are in China. And then A Frightfully English Execution, he actually goes to England. So yeah, a great series. The Baby Ganesh Agency Investigations series by Basim Khan. I love this series. This is set in India, and our main character is Inspector Chopra, and I love him. So this is modern day Mumbai. The first book in the series is The Unexpected Inheritance of Inspector Chopra, where he gets a baby elephant, and he lives on the 15th floor of an apartment building in Mumbai. So what is he supposed to do with a baby elephant? But he ends up calling it Ganesh, and it's fantastic. The perplexing theft of the jewel in the crown, the strange disappearance of a Bollywood star, and Murder at the Grand Raj Palace, and then finally the Bad Day at the Vulture Club. Okay, next up is the Antipoli series by Mario Giordano. This has been translated from the German. Antipoli is such a great character, and I love this series so much. It's set in Italy, and I love how this series is told because it's very unusual. Antipoli is the main character, and we get the story from her perspective. However, the story is told in the first person by her nephew, who at least in the first couple books, or even just the first book, is unnamed. So it's a very unusual style of storytelling. It's like he's telling her story from her perspective, but I love it. And so Antipoli and the Sicilian Lions is the first one. Antipoli and the Fruits of the Lord, or Antipoli and the Vineyards of Etna, is the second one. Antipoli and the Handsome Antonio, and then Antipoli and the Lost Madonna. Great series. And then finally, Kiss of Salt by Smita Bhattacharya. I'm sorry, I'm probably not saying that name correctly at all. This is a mystery set in India. It's set in Goa, which I found fascinating because I don't know a lot about that area of India. It's a coastal region. This is an Agatha Christie style whodunit, where we are introduced to Daria Nadkarni. She is an amateur detective. She's also an accidental detective in that she kind of stumbles upon this mystery. But she is clever, she is spirited, she is resourceful, but she is troubled and she is vulnerable, and I really enjoyed this book, and I hope that there's more from this series. So there you have it. So those are my recommendations for 3 French Hens, to read a translated mystery or a mystery set in a country that is different from your own. I hope you found something in here that piqued your interest for Cloak and Dagger Christmas. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've read any of these series and what you thought about them. And if you have a recommendation for me for this prompt, I would love that as well, because I am still putting my own pile of possibilities together. And I will see you for another recommendations video very soon. Bye.